All right. Corey and Jody here. Just got back a few days ago from the first stop on the 2025 One Bass Series at Lake Shasta, Northern California, by Redding, California. And before we even get into the whole the week-long saga, what happened?
Let me show you. Do you see this? Yeah, I broke my nose and blacked my eyes. I had a flat on the way back on the boat trailer in between Winnemucca, Nevada and Battle Mountain, Nevada. And I got the tire undone and everything off the boat, but the spare tire, I had a really hard time with that. It had some bolts that I had a really hard time getting the socket out of the tool bag. And when I...
Suitcase tool bag.
Okay, suitcase tool bag.
And you know how those suitcase sockets and stuff, you know, they lock in there real nice. So they don't get, just make a mess out of them, you know. So each one of them locks in, you know, hey, and you stay nice and organized, but sometimes getting them out, they kind of pop out there, don't they?
Yeah, it was along I-80. It was dark. I was scared. And when I flipped the one socket, it flipped and hit me in the nose, and my nose started bleeding, and thought I was going to pass out.
It actually cut your nose, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was bleeding.
Yeah, I've got to cut.
The picture you sent me, it was like gashed open.
Yeah. So that's my war wound.
And so you waited for an hour and a half for the highway patrol to show up to give you some lights, and they never showed up.
No, they never showed up.
And so you just had to proceed in the dark.
Trying to find the right. What I had a hard time was just find the attachment for a deep well to get the bolt off of the spare. So it was my fault. I didn't pre-think about how to get it off. So, but got it off.
And so that delayed your ride home for a half a day or more, and then you found a spare tire that would fit, a replacement tire.
But it was over 300 miles away though.
Yeah, and you had to, and it was up in Salt Lake City, right? Yeah, so she had to kind of go back up north and get that taken care of, and then finally get home Tuesday.
No.
Went Monday morning, Monday night.
Monday. No.
Monday night.
Monday night.
So how about the ride out there though?
Well, I got really good gas mileage on the way out because of all the blizzards and snow that I had to pull the boat through. Corey and I were talking. Going out there, I got like 12.7 miles a gallon, and on the way home, I got 11.6. Well, the 12.7 is because I could probably only go about 12.7 miles an hour over some of those mountain passes. It was ice and snow, and it was terrible. But Maggie didn't get hurt. Maggie made it to California.
Yeah, she did, and back. And the reason why she went through all that is because my work schedule would only allow me to take off so much time. So don't hate me. I had to fly out there, and then I had to fly back, and she took care of all the leg work on the way out there and back, you know. And we couldn't have done it if she wouldn't have, you know, been able to pull that off. So much appreciation.
Yeah, it aged me. I turned 50 right before the competition, and boy, do I feel it.
Yeah. How about when you got there? What was the weather like on Friday Friday morning when you got there?
Rain. It rained the whole time.
What about Friday night?
Rain.
Still rain. Saturday?
Rain.
When you picked me up at the airport Saturday evening?
Rain.
Rain. Saturday morning, or Sunday morning?
Rain.
Rain. So we're headed to the lake. We're gonna launch. Rain and wind. The lake's coming up big time. Sunday wasn't so good of a practice for us. And then what did it do Sunday night?
Rain.
Rain.
Wind.
How about
Cold.
Monday morning?
Rain.
And then the winds got up, gusting like, I think 45 to
Like 50,
55,
yeah.
55, something like that. And it was dumping a lot of rain. And then Tuesday morning, man, I think somebody said we got 6 inches of rain on Tuesday alone.
I thought it was 9. That
I
was what
think
was
9
predicted.
9 was the 3 days combined.
Oh, okay.
Those 3 practice days, but it still didn't stop, right? So we've got logs floating everywhere, stumps floating, and then just debris, and little logs like that, and I hit a few of them, and I'm glad I'm in a bass cat. And so Wednesday morning, first day of the tournament. How about your partner?
He was
Now Jody's fishing on the amateur side, so she's got a pro partner, and she'll have a different one every single day. As I am on the pro side, I'll have a different amateur every day. And we have a shared weight program, so whatever me and mine catch on day one, I carry that weight, he carries that weight to his next pro, the second day, and I carry my weight to the second day. And it just continues, and then what a fantastic deal. Because you're working as a team every single day, and you're not back-ending anybody, and the AAAs are not getting back-ended. It's what a camaraderie deal. I don't want to fish anything else.
Yeah. Well, my first day partner, he was from Sacramento, California, and the fishing out there, we had been told that it would be totally different than anything we'd ever seen, and it was. Now, I was blessed enough that Stan, one of our really good friends and guide and a pro fisherman, he sent me with a whole bunch of baits. He was nice enough to bring a bunch of baits and kind of let us go through it. And it was really kind of cool. On my very first day of my tournament, the very first spot bass I've ever caught was on a bait that Stan had sent with me. And that bait was old. I'm pretty sure it was old. I'm really sure it was old. It was in this big old bin of stuff, and he let me take that. So that was really cool. My first spot was caught on a bait that Stan had let me take out there, because he said they'll buy it on this. They'll buy it on this, and he said, be careful, they'll want to buy it from you. Don't sell it to them. So that was my first day.
I didn't get any of those.
Wow.
How do you keep raiding my tackle box?
Corey is kind of a non-plastic worm kind of guy, so. Well, yeah.
You can get them convinced of it. I just didn't have them in my tackle box, and we can talk about some more of that. Like, where'd all my shaky head hooks go?
I took them, I guess, but
Thursday, I was like, I got 2, and that's the only ones that I've got tied on are those 2, and the
You'll
other
have that.
30, just
you'll have that.
walked off.
His boat was a lot lighter though, because all my plastic worms and Cincos were not on there. And no, I'm not sponsored by
Yamamoto.
Yamamoto.
Yeah.
I do like his product.
So how about your second day?
Second day, I learned my partner was from Redding, right there on Lake Shasta, and I learned a new technique, a new way to fish. It's called flow fly, I believe it is, and I learned how to do that, and I was able to boat some
So
fish
what's
with
flow?
that.
What's flow fly?
So flow fly is
Let me just cut to the chase. It's almost like a crappie fishing outfit. So you've got a bobber, what we would call them back east, and a glorified crappie jig under it.
Yep.
And you just you shaky head it like that, and they'll eat it.
Yep. And then so that was a high for day 2. Now day 2's weather was terrible. It was atrocious. It was terrible. It was cold.
Yeah,
it was
yeah, it
raining,
was.
slow sleet. I couldn't feel my fingers. I kept thinking, I paid to do this. I've paid money to go through this, but it was How about your first day?
Well, my first day,
Or do you want to do just me and then do you?
yeah, let's go to the third.
Okay. So then my third day was really cool. So my slogan for this trip and what I've posted is I was able to check off a lot of bucket list items that I didn't even know I had on my bucket list. And my third day partner was Cody Meyer. And he is, if anybody follows anything on fishing, he is a Bassmaster Elite pro. He's like the big dog. And I didn't know that going in. Met up with him, and it just so happened that Corey's partner, they kind of traveled together, and when he got on Corey's boat and we were trying to move around, trying to get to my partner, that's when they said, you know, he's an elite, which that's like, okay, NFL, that's like a pro, like he's the pro, like, so he was really, really cool. But man, what I got out of that was his story on how he started fishing, his story on how he got his name from the good old state of Wyoming. His mom was going through Cody, Wyoming, and had a kind of a change of everything, and a really cool story. And that's where he got his name, was from Cody, Wyoming. But loves his wife, loves his kids. He talked about his kids, and I really believe through all this, what you bring to a boat and your personality and your attitude that you bring to different events and how you fish, I really believe that you get rewarded. If you have a bad attitude and a negative attitude, you're not going to do well. And that guy right there, man,
He's going to do well.
He has done well. He's such an approachable, nice guy. Wonderful. I know there was my funny story. I'll make it quick.
Oh, we got time.
My funny story about Cody was, man, I felt so comfortable fishing with him. And he'd answer all my questions, and he'd explain things, and he was just so personable and just talk. And it was just so comfortable. But he wanted me to throw this one bait by this bridge. And he's like, here, what I'm gonna do on the next stop is I'm gonna have you throw this bait. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, when we got there, he's like, here, you know, just use my rod. Okay. So I'm using his rod, and I'm like, wow, this is a really nice spin rod. Wow. So I go and I'm looking, and I turn over the rod, and I'm seeing who makes the rod, and I'm taking pictures of it so that possibly I can get something like that at home, because it was just a beautiful rod. And I get down to where I see it's his name on the rod. And I'm like,
He's got his own series.
he's got his own series of rods. Like, he's sponsored by Daiwa, and I look at him and I said, is this your name? And he's like, yeah, that's my name. I designed that rod. And you know, then he went into description on how he designs rod and how the company will make his rod. But it was the coolest thing, because I'm in love with this rod, and then I see his name right there, and I'm like, holy cow, he's got his own rod.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, Daiwa is one of the very biggest names in the fishing industry of all. It's kind of a big deal. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, and he's a good guy, man. I only wish the best. So if you don't follow pro fishing, follow it and follow that guy. He's got a YouTube channel, and he's the real thing.
Yeah, Cody Meyer.
He loves his wife and his kids, Dustin, Brooke, and Carrie. He talked about him all day. That was what was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, my day.
Yeah.
My first
I want to
day.
hear about you. That's about all. I didn't have any bodily injuries until after.
My first day, man, I'm still not satisfied with our practice, by no means. So I could feel they were pulling a little water, you know. So I thought, man, I'm gonna hit this bluff line right here, you know. I got to at least get a limit off this deal, and sure enough, had a limit pretty quick. And then just went looking. DD26 makes some awesome products. They make this product called the Live Foot, and I use forward-facing sonar. And it's a set-aside turret system that you can run with your foot pedals or with a hand-run remote control. And I don't know what it's a weather or all that much rain or they got some intrusion, but I was having a lot of problems with it, and which I had not had before. And I was on the phone with them and stuff, you know, and they're trying to help, you know, but so as it turns out, I did not have forward-facing sonar for the whole tournament. I was fishing totally blind, and I'm okay with that, but I got to compete against 125 other pros that do have it, and that is probably working. And so, you know, I'm not making excuses, but that's a legitimate excuse. Anyway, we culled 6 or 8 times, you know, that day, you know, and I was pretty fortunate of what we did have, actually. Yeah, we weren't cold, but it was rain all day, you know, and then second day.
How many rain suits did you have on the second day?
The second day I had 2 rain suits on, 2 of them, and the second one was an insulated version, duck hunting type. I was not cold whatsoever. Actually, I got pretty damn warm, even though we were hovering right around that 30 degrees, because about 10 or 11 o'clock that morning, it started to snow. The rain turned to snow. And then what was funny was when it turned to snow was when I caught our better fish. But my second day partner really keyed me in to those fish. I've got to give him all that credit, Grant. And so the water runoff in the bigger, you know, the rapids coming down, you know, out of the canyons. I was like, man, I fished them 3 days in practice, you know, and never caught a damn fish in them, you know, and I abandoned that pattern. He goes, no, I'm telling you, you know, we'll just go do this. And I think we had one in the boat, you know, the first 30 minutes or something that on my first spot, but it was going to be slow, and I was like, well, I'm willing, let's go. So we go, and I think we put another one in the boat, first creek, and then 2, 3 later, pulled in there, and I think we got our limit out of that one, and then culled probably 12, 15 times, you know, and managed to get a respectable bag out of that day. So I really appreciate it, son. Third day, still that second day though, it's raining. It turned to snow, and it snowed for hours and hours. And at one point, the whole deck of my boat, my whole deck's just, we're walking around in snow. It's a little treacherous. And then it turned to sleet. And that's when we were starting to get cold. And that's when I put the second rain suit on. And then it turned back to rain again. Third day, I drew Cody Myers' best friend over there, you know, and he never fishes the amateur side except for Cody's boat's out east. Cody flew in just to fish this tournament, you know, and so my partner loaned him his boat, so he's going to fish on the AAA side with me. And we go to my first spot, and we catch our limit, and we culled quite a few times, and then we went to try to go find, you know, some 5-pounders, which, you know, it didn't work out, but that's I mean, you got to do something, you know. that was kind of my deal, you know.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I was trying to think how many layers. I had, I think, 7 layers of sweats, tights, uh, rain gear
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. This whole week it was from 20 some degrees to 40. You know, and you're out there from the time you launch your boat. Well, actually, like the second day, the ramp where we were launching at, the walkway ramp, you know, they're mobile. They can pull them up and down, you know, as the water is different seasons. It was like 35 feet out. So you would have to pick somebody up straight off the ramp. So I beached my boat on the ramp to pick my partner up, you know, and back out. And the water was coming up like 10 feet a day. And but I had like 3,000 waypoints. So I went on Google Earth Pro for probably 3 weeks on the lowest point that the lake had ever been, you know, to pick out the little rock piles and the little brush piles and things like that, you know, around. That was moot at this point. So congratulations to Joe Europe Jr. for winning this thing. He pretty much blew it out almost. And everybody else, you know, that stuck through this whole deal. Anything else?
Oh, total logged miles, 3,701. And it looks like the total hours is over 84 hours. And that includes out there, driving there, you know, around Redding and Lake Shasta and then back to Odessa.
Yeah, I've got to give a serious shout out to Sawgrass Fishing Rods. They sent me 2 shaky head rods in the Boy Dark series, and they're 6'10". They are specifically made for shaky head fishing, which I did a great deal of. I've got some other rods that I thought were sensitive, not compared to this. And then the tip of them is so limber. I mean, you just, you know, giddy. But when you set the hook, like it progressively turns to it's got a lot of meat in the rod. So you can just manhandle a fish. I wouldn't be scared a bit, you know, to have a 6-pounder on the end of it in light brush, you know. And I got to give that up for so many of the fish that I caught. I probably would not have landed without that sawgrass rod. I started using them back in the summer. Different series, different models they have. I'm still yet to lose a fish on a sawgrass rod. Now it'll come, I mean, obviously, but I've not lost one yet. So the homework on these rods is not only to get them sensitive and to get those bites, but the whole rest of the dynamic of the rod of how you play that fish and land that fish comes into play like no other. You know, in 40 years, I've had nearly, I haven't had all of them, but I've had almost all of them, and they are, I wouldn't even consider it another rod, you know. And then one other shout I want to give out is to Epic Baits. Their shaky head hook, their shaky head jig hook, and tungsten. I was using a 1/4 ounce because a lot of this was in 30 foot. They have a longer shank. They have a special hook design. It's almost like a V in the bottom, and so that where you set the hook, that fish stays in that V, and he's not able to slide around in the bottom of that hook. I mean, he just stays right there, and you just land them. Unfortunately, not all of them were in my boat, so I ran out of them because you do get hung up from time to time, you know, and you break them off.
I think he's blaming me.
Yeah, maybe. and also I threw Epic Baits spinnerbait a good bit in there, in which I may have caught half my fish on that epic spinnerbait, just kind of slow rolling it, a little half ounce, and just slow rolling it with a small Colorado blade and an Indiana blade on the end of it. And as we've put some videos out before, just tossing it in the swimming pool out here, and we just totally wrecked that spinnerbait, just threw it all the way off here to the side, trying to make it not run perfectly straight up and down and true. And I think that had a good bit to do with it. You know, like they cost more, but I would rather have 2 or 3 of epic spinnerbaits than I would to have 5 of somebody else's, and for good reason, because you don't have to tune them very much, if ever, and they catch fish. You're not wasting your time on all this other stuff. You can just get right to business. And those 2 things, you know, for however, you know, that I did do, just an amazing bait company for sure. And still happy to be in that bass cat. Very fortunate to be in that bass cat. No dead fish. And you know, when you're catching them in, say, when you get to 35 pound or 35 foot deep and 45 foot deep and 60, you know, you've got to fizz those fish when you get them up, because they're all blown up, and you fizz them. And you know, that's part of the game. Not have a single fish die the whole tournament. They were all, I mean, like crazy wild at the weigh-in every day, you know. Which a few guys complimented me, you know, in the weigh-in line, you know, about how wild my fish were. Thought that I'd caught them 10 minutes before we came in, and a lot of them were caught 7 hours before that. So along with, you know, the best live wells in the business, the bait cats that Bass Cat has, the ride, the safety with all the logs and everything else out there. Still yet very fortunate to be in a Bass Cat boat. I'm very fortunate to have sawgrass rods in my hand. I'll tell you that right now, for free. And epic baits. You know, it's baits. I'm telling you, there is a stark difference between epic stuff and everybody else's stuff. So if I can only have 2 epic baits versus 10 of someone else's, I'm taking the 2. That's that much of a difference. And I have to buy them. They give me some, but I still have to buy it. So if it helps, hope it helps somebody. From there?
Well, me and my raccoon black eyes and my tens unit on my back. Thanks for listening. Thanks to One Bass. It was a great tournament. Thanks to all my pro partners. They were awesome. They taught me a lot of different things.
Yeah, and speaking of One Bass, so just before we sat down, we got a notification that that somebody had protested the winner of the tournament. So, and why is because there's a rule that we had on that lake that you couldn't be within 100 yards of any man-made object. So a dock, you know, anything like that, except for bridge piling. And they protested him that he had been within 100 yards or something like that. And they give him a polygraph test, which he passed with flying colors. That being said, this is why that we want to continue to fish with One Bass, because they get right to it. They take care of it right now. You know exactly what the rules are. Everyone knows what the rules are. There's no guessing, there's no nothing. It's very formal. I'm not going to bag on little tournaments because they just can't afford to do that. And that's why we want to fish these stuff like this, like One Bass. It just makes a lot of peace in your heart knowing that that the rules are there, they're going to be enforced, and that we can just go on without our day, not worrying about it, not talking about it, not suggesting anything happen, anything like that. You just know everything's on the up and up, and I'm proud to be fishing the WON Bass Series. And we'll see you at Clear Lake in April.
Clear Lake, California.
Yep, kind of northwest Sacramento.
Maggie May is going to Clear Lake.
Yeah, she is.
She already put an order in.
Good job. With that being said, peace out.